Major Taylor Greene is a congresswoman for Georgia's 14th congressional district. She is a newer elected congresswoman. She is one of the more recent ones that have gotten in there. She is not like this old veteran. She's no Lindsey Graham. She's part of this new wave of Trumpist, Make America Great Again, American First type congresswoman. And with that comes the specter of the Trump movement. You know, QAnoners. We have a lot of more QAnoners in government now. Conspiracy theorists and all the sort. She, before she was elected, of course, she was just a random citizen. And while she was a random citizen, she went up to David Hogg when he was in D.C. right after the Parkland shooting. It was very, very, very shortly after, if I remember correctly. And David Hogg, if you all don't know, was a student at Parkland and a survivor of the shooting. And he has taken his experience with all that trauma and turned it into activism, which is something I can respect, because that's something I deeply understand, the process of taking that trauma and trying to turn it into activism. So he was walking in D.C. and she decided to harass David over the Parkland shooting and what he was doing in D.C. So let's watch this video before moving on to the story about a separate woman, which I believe was... No, it's the same woman. Also threatening Democrats with violence. Let's watch this.
Yeah.
Okay, remember, David Hogg had just had a ton of his class members mowed down, slaughtered by a gunman. For context.
Why are you supporting the red flag laws? If Scott Peterson, the resource officer at Parkland, had done his job, then Nicholas Cruz wouldn't have killed anybody in your high school, or at least protected them. Why are you supporting red flag gun laws that attack our Second Amendment rights? And why are you...
So, see, at this point, it's already pretty, right? She's already chasing the school shooting survivor, throwing these questions at him when he didn't ask her anything. But she just keeps going. Not to mention the idea that if he would have done his job, well, that's the problem. The only way security guards or cops work in these scenarios, as school police officers work when it comes to school shootings, is if they don't get killed, number one. Number two is if they actually are there to stop it. And that, of course, is not enough. And it was not enough for Parkland. So saying, if he did his job, well, obviously that didn't work. When you hire people to be a security guard, a school police officer, or any of these things, one of the questions on the questionnaire, if it's, will you do your job? I don't think any of them is going to be like, damn it, I was planning not to. Now that you called me out, I quit. Never mind. Sorry. I don't want to distract you anymore. How do you make a system where, well, now the cops do their job? If somebody does not go into the building to confront Nicholas Cruz, how could that have been, how would you have figured that out? Obviously, there was not enough barriers in place to stop the gunman. David believes that maybe red flag laws and other type of basic gun control legislation could be of help there. Anyway, but David's not engaging. He's just keeping walking. He's pretending she isn't there.
Using kids to get as a barrier.
Using kids as a barrier. And let me remind you, David Hogg was one of those kids who was getting shot at.
Do you not know how to defend your stance? Look, I'm an American citizen. I'm a gun owner. I have a concealed carry permit. I carry a gun for protection for myself, and you are using your lobby and the money behind it and the kids to try to take away my Second Amendment rights. You don't have anything to say for yourself? You can't defend your stance? How did you get
I mean, maybe it's because he's a school shooting survivor, and if somebody was said, hello, yeah, there's a school shooting survivor that wants to talk to the senator, there's not a lot of senators that could be like, yeah, you know what? Me as a Democratic senator is gonna turn down this school shooting survivor. I'm sure that'll look peachy keen. I'm sure that'll look great. To turn down this school shooting survivor and pretend he doesn't exist. Look, let's all play congressman for a second. Let's say you're all in Congress, right? Let's say we're all in Congress right now, right? We're all twiddling our thumbs, we're all in Congress, right? Everybody in chat, you just got elected. Good job, you're the next AOC. And you got a lot of paperwork, doodly do, and then you get a little, excuse me, a phone call. Oh, who's calling me? Well, hello. Oh, a meeting you say, but I'm pretty swamped. David Hogg, who's that? Oh, he survived a brutal school shooting where children were massacred. Nah, seems unimportant. Fuck him. That's not gonna happen, and that's not a smart thing to do. So it's not very difficult to figure out how he was able to get meetings with legislators in America right after the Parkland shooting, the school that he went to. It's not that difficult. There's not some nefarious plot here where all the senators are working together to take away your rights when it comes to guns. It was simply, he was at a school shooting, his classmates died, and then he asked senators to come by, and most of them were like, either they cared about the issue and wanted to bring him, or knew that if they denied him, they would look terrible.
How did you get major press coverage on this issue?
Major press coverage. I mean, maybe children getting shot is a newsworthy issue. It's not, you know, if I worked for as a reporter and I heard, hey, did you know that local school, yeah, 20 kids just got blown away, I wouldn't exactly respond with a stretch and a yawn. I'd respond with, get the news team down there immediately.
And how did you get kids? Why do you use kids? Why
Because the kids are the ones that are getting shot in schools.
kids? You know, if school,
And that's his personal experience as a kid who was a part of a school shooting.
if school zones were protected with security guards with guns, there would be no mass shootings at schools.
Well, if I remember correctly, Parkland did have a school security guard who I do believe had a firearm, and still students died. Many of the school shootings we see in this country happen on campuses which have police officers on campus. The very one she just talked about to David at the beginning of this little harassment campaign she did about, hey, if that guard on your campus just did his job, then everything would have been fine. So obviously she already knows that having a police officer or security guard on campus doesn't necessarily mean it's going to protect the kids because he failed. But then says, but actually if you did have that. But in the very example she's talking about when it comes to Parkland, there was a security guard on campus, they did have a firearm, and he didn't stop shit. Kids got shot, kids died.
Do you know that? The best way to stop a bad guy with a gun is with a good guy with a gun. But yet you're attacking our Second Amendment. And you have nothing to say. No words. So I'm walking. He's got nothing to say. Sad. He has nothing to say because there really isn't anything to say, you guys. He has nothing to say because he's paid to do this. He has the walkaway march. He's got the
So basically the idea is she's suggesting that David Hogg is in it for the money. That he's not in it because his classmates were slaughtered in front of him and his life was on the line and he was shaking and in fear because he could have been shot at school and has now turned that trauma into activism. Something I can definitely relate to. It's because he's getting money from the evil forces that want to take guns away.
he's got the Women's March, and they're funding all of this. Everytown Gun USA, they're funding all this stuff, okay? That was David Hogg right there. David, we saw him inside the Senate building. He had 30 appointments where he went around and got to talk to senators. I got to talk to none.
I wonder why. And you want to know what? The only reason she's ever going to get to talk to senators now is because somehow she got elected in this country. No, there's no reason. I'm sorry. Did any of your classmates get shot? What was your place of business, your place of employment shot up? No. Then maybe you are not the voice of shooting survivors or school shooting survivors. And David, who school did get shot up, and who was at school when it got shot up, and could have been killed, is maybe a better voice on this issue. Maybe maybe a little bit. Hey Falcon, thanks for the tier 1.
None. He had media coverage all over the place. I had zero. Guess what? I'm a gun owner. I'm an American citizen. And
okay, so here, let's say you're a news station, okay? Everybody, let's all say you're reporters, right? Oh man, I gotta look at the GameStop story or whatever. Sir, we have 2 stories in the city today. Oh, we have 2 stories. What are the 2 stories? Well, on one side, we have David. He is a school shooting survivor who has used his trauma after his classmates were shot and killed and slaughtered. You're trying to bring about gun control and basic gun control legislation. And he is going around DC today talking to legislators, trying to turn his trauma into action. Well, that is one hell of a story. Who's the other person? Well, this woman is a gun owner. Where should we send the news teams? I wonder why the news teams weren't clamoring at the bit to talk to someone who owns a gun in America. What a story. What a scoop. Someone in America owns a gun? That is a story. I haven't heard that one before. Zooey mama, somebody call hot off the presses. American woman owns firearm. Amazing.
I have nothing but this guy with his George Soros funding and his made.
There it is. It's the Jews. Always comes back to it. I was talking about this in a recent video, and I was talking about this on stream the other day. It always comes back to the Jews. Always, just every single conspiracy theory. Always. It just leaps back around to the Jews. Every single time. I was talking about how 9/11 got made about the Jews. Of course, Holocaust now is about the Jews. The war in Iraq was made about the Jews. Basically, every single conspiracy, the banking, the globalists, all made about the Jews. This, made about the Jews again, too. Brought around to George Soros. There it is. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that this person who believes that the election was stolen, threatens Democrats, and tries to undermine the foundations of our democracy, would also possibly be an anti-Semite? Who would have thought? Wait, aren't I funded by Soros? Well, of course. Of course I'm funded by Soros. Of course. But she called out David, not me. I'm part of the globalist cabal. I'm part of Second Branch Management, Catboy Division.
Major liberal funding has got everything. I want you to think about that. That's where we are. And he's a coward. He can't say one word because he can't defend his stand.
To be clear, she is calling the person who survived a school shooting, all of his classmates getting shot and killed, and he is now trying to turn that trauma into action and speak to senators, speak to legislators, go to speeches, do that. And because he would not engage with your anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, he's a coward. But you, oh bestower of knowledge, who believes that the election was stolen with no evidence, will throw out anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, throw out all this nonsense. You are the bestower of knowledge, and you're the brave one here. The brave people like to harass school shooting victims. That's what real brave people do. You know what else brave people do? They threaten violence against Democrats. Taylor Greene's endorsement of conspiracy theories, violence, sparks calls for a resignation again. This person, who, as you can see from this wonderful image, we already knew she was a conspiracy theorist because she believes Trump won the election. He did not. If you want a quick update on who won, it was this man. If you see right here, it says 46th president. Anyway, she's already been a conspiracy theorist for a while, but it just keeps getting deeper and deeper. So we're going to read this article, which goes a little in depth about that. Major Taylor Greene openly supported and spread conspiracy theories for years, yet her Northwest Georgia district elected her to Congress by a wide margin. Now, in office for a little over 3 weeks, she is facing a second round of calls for resignation after a string of reports revealed her repeated endorsements of political violence and extremism. The latest revelations include videos in which Greene, a Republican, parrots bogus claims by suggesting the mass shootings in Las Vegas and Parkland were staged. Okay, so let's be clear. We just watched her go up to David Hogg and harass him for over 2 minutes. She just would not let up. She just chased this guy down, say how he's all for big money. He wants to take everyone's guns away. Soros is backing him. All this stuff for 2 minutes. And she's doing this because she cares. She cares. Because she wants to save the kids. And she wants to make sure we protect our rights. But then again, if we just pretend that David's trauma doesn't even exist, then you can harass and treat him like crap as much as you want. Why would she care about treating David like he's some evil conspirator in the background trying to destroy this country, if you can just pretend, play make-believe that the Parkland shooting didn't happen? You know what I would love, personally? I would love, personally, if we could just all play make-believe and pretend school shootings didn't happen. I would love it if all those times at school, when I had to do school shooting drills, when we had to lock down the doors, had teachers come by and bang on them, turn off all the lights, be quiet as a mouse, I'd love if we didn't have to do that. That wasn't something that made me feel particularly safe at school. In fact, it frightened me and all the other children quite a lot. Maybe the idea that where we're trying to go every day, somewhere that's supposed to be safe and a place of learning, might become a war zone is not really something that encourages confidence and encourages me to get down and study hard. But if you could just pretend that these things are not happening, then you can treat David and other survivors of these traumatic events as bad as you want. The latest revelations include videos in which Greene, a Republican, parrots bogus claims by suggesting that mass shootings in Las Vegas and Parkland were staged. Both terrible and horrific conspiracy theories. A Facebook post that expresses support for a dangerous conspiracy theory about child abuse. Is this the ping pong? Is this the ping pong one? Oh my gosh. Was videotaped murdering a child during a satanic ritual in order to hit on police officer to cover it up. Oregon harvesting? This is the mother of an NYPD officer after Sheila Anthony was left of Cuba and Hillary filleting a child's face. This was another Hillary hit. Yes, familiar. I post things to see who know things. Wow, she really believes that there's footage of Hillary Clinton just like skinning children. Jesus. And a pattern of online activity approving of the execution of Democratic leaders and federal agents. Several prominent Democrat and activist groups are arguing Greene should resign her position or be removed from elected office, and a small number of GOP lawmakers have also criticized her after her posts and comments resurfaced. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy will reportedly have a conversation with Greene, who has dismissed the denunciations as it attempts to cancel her. Okay, look. I don't give a fuck about, look, there's people who get canceled over stupid stuff, right? Undeniably. But I think threatening your opposition with execution, pretending that school shootings didn't happen, harassing the victims of those school shootings that you don't even believe happened, and accusing your opposition of murdering children and torturing them and harvesting their organs, all without evidence. I think that's grounds for canceling. I think that's grounds for me to say, I don't know if this person has everyone's best interest at heart. I think when they were threatening the opposition with execution, they might have been showing a lack of leadership skills, to be polite about it. Personally, if someone threatens me with execution, that makes me think they might be a tiny bit unstable. When I was in DC during the January 6th protests, you know, during the counting of the Electoral College votes, and I was threatened with execution, I never thought when those people were threatening me with execution, they're great for Congress. I can't wait to see them lead this country forward. That's not what I was thinking. I was thinking, wow, I feel unsafe in my own community. Several prominent Democrats and activist groups are arguing Greene should resign or be removed from elected office. Oh, we already read that. Greene has a record of boosting conspiracy theories and making racist statements well before the firestorm of the past few days. She was elected to the House in November, becoming the first public backer of QAnon, an extremist ideology based on falsehoods, to win a seat. So, let's go through it. George Soros is the one controlling David Hogg. David Hogg is a bad actor behind the scenes. David Hogg's experience at Parkland was fake and staged. Harassed him. Hillary Clinton fillets children and skins them alive and murders them. We should execute the Democrats. And QAnon. Oh, and of course, the other well-known conspiracy theory, and somehow this is the small one compared to everything else, she believes Donald Trump won the 2020 election. Man, I wonder why anybody would want her removed from office. Man, I can't believe she's getting canceled. Doesn't everybody know those were all just elaborate jokes and pranks? She was just pulling a really big prank on David Hogg when she was harassing him like that. It was an epic win, an epic lull, you know? You libtards just don't understand good right-wing comedy. Since then, Greene has relentlessly boosted the big lie that the 2020 election was rigged against President Donald Trump, even though dozens of courts have dismissed his claims and state officials across the country, including Republicans, have rejected the baseless allegations. Fellow lawmakers first called for her expulsion after the January 6th attempted insurrection, naming her an accomplice to Trump's incitement of the mob, her statements having also resulted in her temporary ban from Twitter. On Tuesday, K-File published the findings of its reviews of hundreds of posts and comments on Greene's Facebook page. And one January 2019 post, Greene liked a comment advocating a bullet to the head of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, according to a screenshot K-File captured. Okay, so let's all think for a second. It's 2019. You're considering running for Congress, or you're just a decent human being. You see a post that, and let's say most of my community's Democrats, where if somebody threatens Mitch McConnell or Kevin McCarthy with execution, Lindsey Graham with a bullet to the head, are you gonna like that post? Now, number one, you shouldn't do it because you're a decent human being. That's the first thing. Second reason you shouldn't, and here's the second thing. It also just shows she's stupid. She's not only a terrible human being, but she's stupid. Because even if she believed that, if she was going to run for Congress, why did she like the tweet? I mean, the reply. She could have just ignored it. Kept going and hold those terrible thoughts in her mind. So not only is she a terrible human being, but she's also incredibly stupid. As scrutiny of Greene's digital record had testified, Fred Gutenberg, the father of slain Parkland Sooner Jane Gutenberg, recirculated a video from Greene's YouTube account showing her trailing school shooting survivor David Hogg, then a teenager, for nearly 2 minutes, repeating conspiracy theories. She accused him of using George Soros funding to take away my Second Amendment rights. He's paid to do this, she said of Hogg, who had to hide in a classroom closet to avoid the gunman who stormed stolen Douglas High School. Greene, looking at the camera, added, "He's a coward." My God. The sad reality is, she probably will get reelected. Hopefully not, but she probably will if nothing happens here. But could you imagine getting to be the Democrat who runs against her and using this type of the irony here, this type of ammunition against her? Oh, she called school shooting survivors cowards. She called for the execution of Hillary Clinton. She liked posts like encouraging terrorism. She accused the opposition of all skinning children alive. I will answer all of your questions in person, Gutenberg tweeted at Greene. Get ready to record again. Oh, damn. Shortly after, another video of Greene's questioning a mass shooting resurfaced. This one about the 2017 massacre. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Do we have this? We do. We do have the footage.
Hey friends, I've got a question for you. How do you get avid gun owners and people that support the Second Amendment to give up their guns and go along with anti-gun legislation? How do you do that? Maybe you accomplish that by performing a mass shooting into a crowd that is very likely to be conservative, very likely to vote Republican, very likely to be Trump supporters, very likely to be pro-Second Amendment, and very likely to own guns. You make them scared, you make them victims, and you change their mindset, and then possibly you can pass anti-gun legislation. Is that what happened in Las Vegas? Is that why the country music festival was targeted? Because those would be the people, would be the ones that we would relate to? Are they trying to terrorize our mindset and change our minds on the Second Amendment? Is that what's going on here? I have a lot of questions about that. I don't believe.
Oh, I'm just asking questions. I mean, it isn't just like I have a consistent record of having no sympathy at all for victims of gun violence, whether it be school shooting victims and me calling school shooting victims cowards, or me questioning whether what happened in Las Vegas was a giant government plot to take the guns away. Oh, it's not that. I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions, like about whether if Hillary Clinton is skinning children alive. What is this? What is this that has been brought to my attention? What is this thing that I've just found? GOP candidate shared anti-Semitic great replace. Oh my gosh. She is just a ball of fun, isn't she? She is just a ball of fun. Anyway, let's finish this YouTube video.
I believe Stephen Paddock was a lone wolf. I don't believe that he pulled this off.
No evidence. Again, she's saying this with no evidence. She's just saying, I don't believe it. Well, I don't believe that you got elected to Congress. I refuse to believe that you got elected to Congress.
All by himself. And I know most of you don't either. So I am really wondering if there's a bigger motive there, and does it have to do with the Second Amendment? Because what's the best way to control the people? You have to take away their guns.
Who would have thought that the country, with terrible mental health care and a very high concentration of guns, has mass shootings? Who would have thought that that was a possibility?